All right. So why don't we take it from just about that point and resume, and we'll have a listen here. So at that point, obviously it was it was a thrilling moment for everybody watching, everybody listening. Everyone in the band must have felt quite emotional about the whole thing, as evidence. Um, Talk about that, about what it felt like at the end of it. Stuart, maybe start with you.
Yeah, from the moment I heard the initial draft of the finishing piece on Chanters, I knew right away that it was going to be a very it'll carry off a very emotional effect to the listener. So, and thinking what it would be like at the Worlds, and there we are in the Worlds doing it. I was actually trying to do the opposite and not get too involved. And so, but it's such a really everything was going really well, and I think all I was focusing on there was just to make sure that everybody was solid right to the end. I think for me, the D at the end of the performance was the sort of real test, and hoping that everybody was going to be right with their arm pressure. But it turned out to be good, really good. So yeah, I was kind of. I think if I let myself get too involved, I could be quite sort of emotional with that, So I was trying not to be too much. Yeah.
Well, understandable. And what about? I mean, it's not the most complicated thing. I mean, it's very difficult to play in the sorts of extended held notes, I guess, fermatas. Um, but were you worried at all that it might be considered too easy? Most bands finish on a big, jigs or hornpipes or whatever, big thrilling kind of high tempo finish. Was very different. Any concern that way with the judges?
There's never a concern about what the judges think. I think is the honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's play the music that excites us, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, then there's nothing you can do. It's just a human opinion at the end of the day.
We do like to explore things, but I like to sort of broaden as best as we can within the parameters, the music, And yes, going into that, we felt it was probably a little bit risky in terms of competition, but that I think it's all about the music, as Ali would always say, So we wanted to just explore the music, and that was probably the most important thing for us going into it. Win, lose or draw. In fact, I think there was also a risk of the medley being over 7 minutes, which is the limit. And of course, if you go over that, you're disqualified. So I think I actually put my neck on the line and said to the team on the Thursday I would buy everybody a drink if the band medley finished in 6 minutes and 58 seconds, which it didn't, thankfully. I think it was only like 4 seconds short of that, I think. Anyway.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
What's interesting would you, I mean, it occurs that, they maybe it's a new era, or a different era, put it that way, where, more emphasis certainly in medley and music. It's your performance obviously was flawless technically, but musically it seems to be what people are really keying in on. Do you think that might happen? New sort of emphasis on the music going forward, or increased emphasis.
I think so.
See,
Well,
this is comment
well,
as well. When Stuart mentioned just a little bit there, go about broadening the horizons or something, it just kind of made me remember that final piece. It's the Dream Valley. It's the reprise of Dream Valley. And right at the end, we kind of slow down, dum-bee-dee, and we were just going to finish it right there. Do-dee. We weren't, the Lochenside thing wasn't in the medley originally. It wasn't in that original piece. And it actually came from the year before when we were at the Forres competition. Myself and Andrew had to room together in the hotel. And on the way up the road, I had played him some music from a well-known film score that's everybody in the world will know. I'm not going to say it, just it's a well-known film score. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I love that." It was the trailer for the movie, and we kept listening to it, and the chord pattern is like this really, really common thing that you'll hear in a lot of pop music. Everything, it's this. It's not 1-4-5-1. I think it's because it's minor. So it's whatever the equivalent is in the relative minor of that. And Lochenside perfectly fitted over these chords. And because it kind of started on what we would call in our language the B minor chord, it gave Lochenside this completely different kind of musical feel, because I think people hear that tune as this really happy piece. I think most people in the world, if you were to ask them to write harmonies to it, would probably go for a very happy feel, and this kind of just changed the whole dynamic of how it came across. I think it made it feel way more epic. And I remember we were up to like 3 a.m. I think we must. This video has probably got 100 million views. I think we were like 999 million of them. They were like on like the phone in the air, like da da da, like just kind of singing to each other in the room. And I'm like, this has to be it, Andrew. This is the way this medley's going to finish. And because it was so different, it also right when we were writing the harmony for the very beginning, I think that's why it influenced me to go super major with that side of things. Starts very happy, starts just the way you think it's going to do it. And then when it finishes, it's just a completely different vibe. There was a lot of thought put into it. But yeah, just when Stuart said broadening the musical thing, we always try to do something, to find another idea or another kind of way to do things. This year's the ending was kind of inspired by a film score. Chord progression.
It's certainly, I think cinematic might be the word for it. It is, you could just hear that, the performance fitting into, a piece of cinema, film. Well, guys, it's been a terrific conversation. Congratulations on the success. The 4th World Championship, that medley, sealing the deal on that, and the entire piping and drumming world seems to be galvanized by the creativity of it. So it's really, really terrific to hear your insights on it, everything. And we will, as always, look forward to the next step in what Inveraray and District comes up with. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew.